Well, catching up with me today is Bob Dipper, a good friend of mine. I've known him for years, and I'm looking forward to catching up with him. It's going to be a great discussion. Bob, this is episode 2, number 269.
Okay.
Can you believe I've been doing it this long?
Well, no.
It's a long time.
Is this done every week?
Every week, about 4 or 4:30, about 4, and I've done it for 269 weeks.
Divide that by 52.
It's a little over 4. No,
4 or 5, almost 5.
Are we on the 5th year or the
Almost 5.
Almost. Let's see. So January will start the 5th year or be the start of the 6th year.
6th year.
I always get that confused.
All right, he's got his calculator out.
We ought to know that. Started.
We're past 5 years.
We're past 5 years.
So
at the end of this year, it'll be 6 years.
Well, we started in the middle of the year, like July, September.
Yeah, but we calculated as starting in January.
Yeah.
So
according to the episodes.
Yeah. I see. So anyway, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Whenever you read a story in the newspaper or see something on television about somebody getting arrested, you naturally assume they're guilty. Unless the story's about you or someone you love, then you'll think differently. And you'll want a lawyer who will defend you. My name's Scott Canavis. If you or someone you love has been charged with a crime, call me. I'll return your phone calls, I'll work on your case, and I will defend you.
You go to East Side this morning? You still go there?
No, East Side Church of Christ has got several volunteers that have offered to go to different congregations who don't have a preacher, or their preacher's sick or out of town, or just want to hear somebody different. And I went to Englewood this morning.
Englewood. Englewood Church of Christ. Where's it located?
Just off Highway 411, about a half a block.
On the left or right?
It's on the right as you're going north. Big sign right there on Highway 411.
What's Englewood known for?
I really don't know.
They had a Tom Thumb there. Remember the old Tom Thumb drive-in, drive-up restaurants? I remember they had a Tom Thumb.
That was before my time.
Well, I remember it was before mine too, but I remember going there and still seeing the old sign was still up. Is Englewood's part of Athens, right? Or
McMinn County.
McMinn County.
Yes.
It's got to be the last. McMinn County would have, how many cities would they have? It'd have Athens.
They got Athens, Etowah, Englewood.
Calhoun. Nyota. Would Nyota be a county?
Nyota is in McMinn County.
What about Sweetwater?
No, Sweetwater is in a different county.
Monroe, maybe?
Monroe, that's where I'm thinking, yeah.
So they have a big congregation?
If you consider 8 being a large number.
8 people?
8 people, counting myself.
Boy, that's not, they have Sunday school?
They have just a service for the people there. A lot of them, they talk about going to classes at Gateway or Etowah, and then meeting there for about an hour. And some of the people are old and don't want to travel very far, so it's learning.
Well, there's the small churches. I wonder if there'll be a thing of the past with COVID sort of took a lot of them, people got used to not going.
I'm going to say this, speaking for myself. COVID changed our whole religious curriculum. Okay, we started worshiping at home, online, through Facebook, which is, I got nothing wrong with that, because my wife has medical issues, and so she worships there online with the East Side congregation, and that's been one thing that has changed it. Now, some of these smaller congregations, the older ones, these people don't want to deal with a computer. They don't want to deal with having to reset their TVs to go to this channel, that channel, to streamline this and streamline. They're not into that. They want to, just turn it on, turn it off, change channels, and go that way. And I don't blame them for that. I mean, they've learned a lot. They've learned more than we've ever thought about. But what we think about, is different else. They have learned to use cell phones to call, but as far as the demographics of the country churches, I see them struggling.
I don't know how some of them still stay. I know Benton Church, they only have about 6 or 8 people too.
I haven't been to Benton Church in a long time. I went over with one of our members. He was preaching over there that morning, and that was another place that we used to go.
Yeah.
And one of our members said, "I'll just start going over there and do their preaching." And one of the elders there, he said, "You're on loan. You're on loan. You're going to come back. You're on loan." So there you are.
But so many churches now are getting so big that they can offer so many, daycare and this and that. And so I don't know what will happen to the small churches. I think there'll be there's less of them for sure, isn't there?
There's more and more falling by the wayside.
Did you ever work at the chalet with me?
No, I didn't.
Not once?
No.
Did you come and help? Didn't you help me and Joe some, or when Joe was building?
I did. Boy, that's a long way back.
A long time ago. I don't know why I remember it. We were sewing.
About the mid-'80s.
We were sewing. It would have been the early '80s.
I went to work for a supply house, building supply house.
Which one?
Lowe's, and worked there from '83 to '87. And I wanted to learn more about the building trade and what went on. Where does this 2x4 fit? Why do they use 2x6s in the bathrooms? And why do they, what is moisture resistant drywall? And then we got off into lead-based drywall, and that's a whole new industry.
Yeah,
that's not new. It's just a different industry. But thanks to Joe, bless his heart, he's got his reward. So we can talk about him. See, he's dead and gone now. He let me work with him on my days off, and I learned a whole lot.
But that couldn't have been '83. That would have been earlier than that, because I remember you coming out there, and I was probably 17 years old or something. Or 16.
Hang on a minute. What was I doing? No, between '80 and '83 that I went to work for, I was working for a printing supply house out of Chattanooga, and was in different. Now I may have shown up when I seen his truck there on my routes going.
But you didn't. I remember I think I remember us sowing grass one evening, and everybody had already gone, but it was me and you finishing up sowing the grass. I think it was out on a house on Cedar Springs Church Road, if I remember correctly.
It wasn't me. The only time I done that with you, I just remembered, was Villa Drive. There was a house there. I was finishing up the windows.
I don't
And
remember that.
I was cleaning the windows. I didn't know there was that much cleaning went on before people got to move in.
Boy, there's
after
a lot.
the building.
There's a lot.
There's a bunch of cleaning going
Those windows always have glue on them too, don't
Yeah, they did.
Always have glue
on.
on
They
them.
did. He showed me what a newspaper and Windex could do for a window.
I remember cleaning some one time, and it was a house of Anderson windows, and I scratched every one of them. You couldn't tell it till the sun came in just right, you know. But I guess it was a bad newspaper or something. But I remember that. And you don't think you were out on Cedar Springs Church Road?
Mm-mm. I grew up down there, but I don't remember helping him out there.
But you may have forgot?
No.
No?
No. the places where I helped Joe at before I got ramrodded into another job and back into industry where I was, where my studies went, associate's degree in industrial technology.
Uh-huh.
But I worked with him on Villa Drive, and the place he had over in Polk County, the Morehouse Estate.
Yeah, that's right, when we was building
Yeah.
Cedar Springs. We'd go from Cedar Springs back through Ladd Springs to that house in Polk County where the firecracker stand blew up.
Yeah, right
During
on
that era.
Right over the ridge.
So I think you were at Cedar Springs.
I was at that place. Now I don't remember it being called Cedar Springs Church Road.
No, we came from Cedar
Oh.
Springs. That
You
we
got-
were building both houses at the same time.
Oh no, okay, yeah.
And I believe we were sowing the grass, and he had left, and it was me and you finishing up sowing the grass, spreading the straw.
Might have been. I don't remember it if we did.
Are you related any to the Billy Nipper?
Billy Nipper married into the family. Okay, Billy Nipper's husband, J.L. His father was Carl, and Carl had a brother. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks. His father's name was Claude, and he had a brother named Carl.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I came from, the Carl side.
Carl Nipper.
Yep.
And so which one married? So Billy Nipper wasn't that wasn't her maiden name.
No, I don't know what her maiden name was.
Do they still have the Billy Nipper, the festival out there?
I don't think so. She was
I hadn't heard about that in years.
I haven't either. But it moved from Black Fox to
Red Clay.
Red Clay State Park. And I got to go to it a couple of times before she got to where she couldn't be out and do it anymore.
My grandmother used to sell pictures of paintings there, Laverne. And I remember always having to go to the Billy Nipper every year. It was every year.
Oh, yeah.
And it was across the road from where the park is. It was across the road. And
Yeah, out in the field.
Yeah, out in the field. And meander around the trees.
Yeah, right there, right around the Council Spring
Yep.
area.
That's been a long time, hasn't it?
It has.
So the Nippers were primarily from Cedar Springs out there?
I don't know where we originated from, the Nipper name, or where,
Yeah.
but my dad grew up on Spring Place Road, right around the Macedonia Church area in there. And he bought a house in the mid-'60s, not far from there. And I tell everybody I spent my teenage years at the Ladd Spring Place Road intersection. And everybody knows where that is.
Yep.
And then before that, Mother's side of the family, they bought some land off of Hughes Lake Road. And
Which was further down?
oh yeah, it's further down.
It's
past-
like Buck's Pocket.
Yes. Kind of a humorous thing there, but everybody said that my dad, Joe Nipper, was the mayor of Buck's Pocket, and he didn't even have to run for office. He just automatically mayor.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's how people get elected down there. You don't show up.
Isn't it something? I was down there yesterday, down towards Buck's Pocket, and I had Cole with me. I said, Cole, this is known as Buck's Pocket, and I had no idea that y'all were from there. Of course, Cedar Springs was sort of classified a little bit different than Buck's Pocket, wasn't it?
Cedar Springs, no, it's considered part of Buck's Pocket.
Part of Buck's Pocket.
Yeah.
I always thought about it as a city. There used to be a convenience store on the way down there on the left that didn't sell gas. You remember that?
I sure do. See, Bandy. Jordan's. Hope Jordan owned that.
I would stop and get Copenhagen there. They kept it in the freezer on the way to Cedar Springs to that where we built that house. That was during the farmer's home era when they build little homes for people and subsidized the payments. And we built a bunch of them, and then went over during that time. We built that house for where you said you worked at Morehouse.
Yeah.
I remember Joe was one day said, "Are we going to the Moors today?" And he said, "Where?" I said, "The Moors." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "The house we're building in Polk County." He said, "Yeah, the Morehouse." I said, "Yeah, that's what I said." And he said, "That's their name, Morehouse." I said, "You mean their last name is Morehouse at that Morehouse house?" He said, "Yeah." How would I have ever known that?
Not without asking
I
him.
mean, who would ever thought that was their last name? Yeah, I remember that because that's when the firecracker stand blew up. I wasn't there then. It cracked the basement, I think, when that blew up.
All I know was he got scared to death. He said that was the longest trip he ever made because the number of people there was the number of people he had on site doing the masonry work.
Yeah, they were doing the blocks at that time.
It was the first time that he had ever had to use dynamite
in the foundation. That's right. I remember that.
To get the basement down.
He was thinking maybe something had gone wrong with the dynamite.
He said, yeah. And he was telling us that they ignited a charge, and they was watching this rock as it went up in the air, thinking, okay, it's going to come down on my truck. And he said there's a bigger rock laid behind them. He said the good Lord was looking out for me that day.
That was also about the time they raided that place for having cockfights. You remember that?
I do, but I don't remember where it's at.
It was like within a mile of that, I think. I remember those two things happened there while we were working on it, because that was a big house. Big house.
It was a big house. He spent, year and a half building it?
Oh, yeah, it was there all the time.
I know he had me come in here, he said, man, I got to finish these doors. And I didn't know what in the world he was talking about. I thought, finish the doors, okay. He took and folded up to show me how to fold the sandpaper, and he said, rub till it's smooth. Rub till it's smooth. And when you get that done, pick this paper up and rub it some more. And I thought, my stars. And those were the roughest doors.
They were all wood.
Yes.
All wood doors.
All wooden doors.
Had two kitchens in that house.
Yep.
Two living quarters.
I'm going to tell on myself.
Okay.
You kind of remember how it was laid out? I walked out to the front door, and there was the truck. And I went back in the house, and I walked around in a circle and come back out and looked over there, and right there was the same door, and right there. I walked around in that house 3 times in a circle.
Trying to find
the other side where Joe was at, because he kept hollering for me.
Hey, when we were sealing those doors, I've never told this story. We were sealing those doors. He told me not to tell. We were sealing the doors in the kitchen, and we had all the doors shut, and we got to smelling that paint fumes. And next thing I know, he was sitting on the counter and he said, "We're doing something that the whole world can be proud of." And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the front porch. We had smelt that stuff to where we had
High as a kite.
high as a kite. But I don't know, but just to see him sitting on that counter saying, "We're doing something the whole world," that wasn't Joe's character at all. He said, "We're doing something the whole world can be proud of." And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the front porch. I don't know how much time had gone by or nothing.
I had a neighbor, he died a few months ago, and I was talking to his son-in-laws earlier today. Funniest man you'd ever meet, and he could judge your character just by shaking your hand, and he knew whether he was going to be, friends with you for life, or he was just going to, okay, I know who you are, what you are, we'll do business, and that be it. But to hang around or sit on his porch and talk about things, he wouldn't talk about anybody till they died. And then he would tell everything he knew. And I mean, some of the stuff he come up with was hilarious.
It's funny stuff people do. That would be so out of character of them if people knew, but they don't know. You just don't know. When people live 60 and 70 years, there's got to be stuff they've done that's embarrassing or don't want people to know.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, how old are you?
59.
59. All right, I'm 70. I've done things that would embarrass me to death, that would embarrass my family. That's me.
You gonna die with it?
I'm taking that to my grave. And there are things which I will, share with anybody about growing up with my dad and my brothers and sisters, that people will sit there and scratch your head and you say, "Did he do that?" And he lived to tell about it. Yeah. But your family's got secrets, and we've all got secrets that we don't want out.
Yeah, and some stuff we think's embarrassing, but maybe it's really not. It's not that embarrassing. Maybe we just think it is.
No.
And you never worked at the chalet.
No.
Was you in the military?
I was in the military. I served 4 years in the United States Air Force from 1973 through 1977.
Well, so why do I remember? See, I was a bellman at the chalet.
Okay.
And I would work Friday nights, and remember being sitting on the couch watching that TV, waiting for customers to come in, and I believe you came in there, and you were in the reserves or in the military, home for something. Maybe you were applying for a job.
No, we during one of my home stays, my wife set up a photo shoot for us to get a family portrait. And it was there at the chalet.
That's what I remember.
That's what you remember.
That's what I remember. Isn't that weird?
My oldest daughter was with us, yeah.
And the reason I remember that is there was another guy that was working there that was in the Marines. And I always remember two people there that came through that were in the military. I just don't know why I remember. I just remember that. And then later, I remember seeing you at Joe's. So, we're helping Joe. But did you worked at Lowe's when they were down on South Lee? Then?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Well, were they that big? They weren't that big like they are now, though, right?
Probably not. They were still trying to grow west. To my knowledge, somebody said when my daughter worked there a long time ago, they were talking and making fun about, can I put in for Hawaii? So I don't know if they've got a facility in Hawaii or not. But they've gone from like having an open yard and 10,000 square foot of retail showroom to what they've got now. So when you say they're big, I think they're nationwide. The only place they don't have is Alaska, and I'm not sure about that.
I don't remember going there much on South Lee Highway. I don't think I ever went in there.
It's out of the way.
is out of the way.
It was
Everything now is up on Paul Huff.
Yeah.
You can't hardly go that way in Cleveland at all, can you? You can go this way a little easier, but
Yeah.
you just can't get through town if you go across that way.
Paul Huff Parkway has become the lifeblood along with Keith Street.
Mm-hmm.
So Cleveland's grown.
Paul Huff's the new 25th Street, but it's busier than 25th Street was.
Ever thought about being?
Yeah. I have a friend that lives up in Eagle Creek. He says if he's going to Captain D's, he goes up to Lauderdale, over to Charleston and down, because he can get there quicker than coming down Mouse Creek and going.
Wouldn't doubt it a bit. Would not doubt it a bit.
It's bizarre how much traffic there is. I don't know what we're going to do.
We're going to start learning to drive a little bit better, a little bit safer. Put the phones down, turn the phones off. It's going to get bad.
I don't know. Maybe these self-driving cars will speed traffic up. You know, because people won't. You think about how many times you have to wait in traffic because of a fender bender. You know, that probably slows down stuff a lot.
I don't know. I hope I don't find out the hard way about a auto driving vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like cruise control was. Everybody wants to use cruise control going down Keith Street. You know, that cruise control is for highway use.
I don't even use it on the highway. I want to control it. I just don't feel like I'm controlling it if it's on. I just setting the speed. I think I could deal with a self-driving car a little bit better than I could cruise control. If you ever look at those cruise control, it's just a little balloon with a little chain on it.
Mm-hmm.
They say these new Teslas, when you turn the steering wheel, you're not really turning anything. You just think you are. It's not connected to
Haven't
anything.
driven one.
It's just like going like a video game. You know, it's not connected like we'd think a linkage in a.
Okay. I haven't seen one. Well, I've seen them, but I haven't driven one, haven't looked under the hood or lifted the fuse box on the motor.
Yeah, probably don't have one. Did you go to work at, you was at Whirlpool for what, years?
34 years.
34 years. That seemed like yesterday, or does it seem like a long time?
Looking back, it seems like I put a whole lot of time in that location. The pay was decent. The hours were okay. It's close to home. I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Somebody asked me, what's it like working for a 12-hour shift, a 10-hour shift? I said, I leave the house at 5 o'clock. I get home at 5 o'clock.
That's a 10-hour shift. A 10-hour shift is a long time, isn't it?
It is.
Are you a fan of the 10-hour shift, or you think 8's better?
I think they need to go back to 8 hours. The thing that really helps out industry in a 10-hour shift is, especially if you've got instruments and machines that have to operate for like ovens, have to maintain that temperature. Takes a long time for them to get up to temperature. Takes a long time for them to get down to temperature. So it's got its pluses and minuses. When the industry first went to 10-hour shifts, people on second shift were going, hey, we can go to those Friday night football games. You know, it took them 3 years to get to go to a football game.
How come?
Overtime.
Is that right?
Yep. They would run 4 10-hour days and an 8-hour overtime on Friday.
So that was a 48-hour week.
Yep. 8 hours overtime.
Did you go there during the strike, or when did you
Right
go?
after the strike, when they got it, I didn't want to cross the picket line because I had friends that were still working there.
Yeah.
I had family members still working there. And I also had family members and friends who were supporting the strikers.
So you didn't want to get involved in it.
I
How old
didn't.
were you when you went to work there?
33.
Were you glad to get on there?
I was, because it led me back into my study of college, industrial technology. So yeah, I got back into the maintenance end of it.
What is industrial technology exactly?
You've got machines that build and do things that make the product. They've got robots now that do a lot of the work. We used to have to take a caulking gun that was air pressured, and operators would put the glue around the ceramic tops and then scrape off that, and it was a lot of waste. So now, when I left there, they had a robot who would pump it out of a 55-gallon container, a barrel, and it would put it exactly where it was at, the right amount and everything right there with it. They had machines that would stamp out the metal that is made. It comes off of a coil, goes through a machine, gets fabricated. They've got CNC machines there that will do that. What a die used to do, now a machine will cut it and they can hand it over to another machine and it'll bend it. And it's just those machines. It's those machines that industrial tech would take care of when they break down. They would service them.
Like maintenance of the machinery,
Maintenance of the machinery.
not designing them really.
No, we just maintain them.
Almost a mechanic for the.
That's what we were called,
Yeah.
maintenance and engineering. Well, I tell everybody I was maintenance and engineering because some of the things we'd have to look at, we would have to come up with ways to figure out, to support, to bend, to help this machine work efficiently.
So you remember going to the old location? Was it a pretty nice facility? It looked a little rough.
Looked is kind of a common word. It looked good outside.
Oh, you mean that it was worse inside?
Go inside and you got a whole bunch of machinery that is underground, on ground, second floor, third floor, and on the roof.
So it's just a hodgepodge of old technology meshing with new technology, with labor and old buildings and new buildings, and so you can see why they moved, I guess, right? To
That, and there was doors that were open for people to come in and out of that did not work there. I don't know what I was doing out there that day. I must have been going around the building to come into another door or something, but somebody pulled up and I said, "Hey, where are you going?" And he said, "We're going to go see Jose." And I said, "Do you work here?" "No, Jose's in there." I said, No, I can't let you go in there. They could get hurt.
yeah.
But he talked like he had been in there many times. So, that was one thing that when Whirlpool bought it, that they definitely said, "Oh, we're going to change this." And from there, they built the facility over on Benton Pike.
Yeah, so they owned and operated it for a while before they built the new one, right?
Had to. It took over 3 years to get that building up and running. And then we started moving equipment over.
Just
track.
now, we got rid of the property, I think.
Yeah,
I saw
they've,
the news or somewhere.
Yeah, that industry, the estate, or whatever it was they call those people, real estate people.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've agreed to a term to turn it over, to sell it to the city. So
I wonder if they'll ever do anything good with it. I don't know.
there has been things in the paper, in the Cleveland Daily Banner, that's been proposed that the city likes, things that they don't like. They've got a proposed bridge to go over on 3rd Street where the truck route is, over the railroad tracks. I've heard plus and minuses for that. I've heard a big arena, big for Cleveland.
Yeah.
10, 12,000 seat arena.
So that's pretty big, isn't it?
Yeah, considering you got to have a parking place for those people.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, there's things going on that's going to happen in Cleveland, whether I get to see them. I'm 70 years old. And whether I get to see it done, I don't know. But somebody.
So what branch were you in the military?
I was in the Air Force. I served 2 years in California and then 2 years in Alaska.
So you went to basic training and all that?
I went through basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas.
Was that hard?
What's your definition of hard in basic training?
Within an inch of just quitting.
This was in 1973. They were yelling at me when I woke up. I'm sorry. They were yelling at me to get up out of bed, to wake up, make my bed, to get in line, eat, go back in line, go here, go there. It yelled at you all day long.
For how long? For
6 weeks.
6 weeks. That'd be like from right now till what's today?
Well, I'll share this with you. I went in August 1st of 73, and on the 15th of September, 16th of September, I was home for a few days before I reported to Travis in California.
So, why did you go to that?
Why did I go
Because
to the Air Force?
the draft had stopped, right?
The draft had stopped at the end of 1972, and I turned 18 in 73. Nothing was happening in Cleveland. Either you went to work at what was Mallory Duracell today is Mallory Battery over here on Mouse Creek Road, or you went to work at Brown Stove, Hardwick Stove, Magic Chef, or you went to college, or you
That's it.
Yeah, that was it. And there really wasn't no industry that excited me. But I wanted to do something that was bigger than me to kind of pay back what was given to me from World War II and Korea and Vietnam.
Did you really have that mindset?
I wanted to leave Cleveland, and I didn't have any money to move out. I didn't have my own automobile. Mm-hmm. I didn't have my own, had a suitcase full of clothes, but that was it. I had no job.
What was your dad doing?
My dad was disabled from the Korean War. And while he was still working in my younger years, he was an over-the-road trucker. So
you decided you wanted to try something different.
I wanted to see something different. I wanted to see what the world was like. I wanted to see what the United States looked like. And I wanted to find out myself. I wanted to find myself.
Had you graduated from Bradley High?
I was in the first graduating seniors from the new building in the spring of '73.
So why the Air Force?
Kind of simple. I didn't like going out into the woods and having to deal with poison oak, because when you take calamine lotion and put it on you, you look like you're, some kind of fruitcake wearing makeup. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like that, and I didn't like having to scratch. Like, I done some bush hogging for some people, and my elbows right now are itching because I had to climb up under the bush hog and clean it out. And I'm allergic. At that time I was highly allergic to poison oak, poison ivy. And I heard some guys in the Army talk about going out and having
crawling on the ground or
Yeah,
something?
going through poison oak and poison ivy. I thought, I ain't gonna do that. So I went to the Air Force.
Why not the Navy?
He wasn't there that day.
Oh,
He wasn't there. I had several of my friends who went into the Navy, and some stayed and did quite well. Others, like me, stayed in 4 years, and everybody says, well, why'd you get out? And I said, well, I chose marriage over military. And so in 77, I resigned or fulfilled my obligations with the Air Force, and they gave me a honorable discharge, and
was that it, or do you have to go to that 2-week thing every weekend sort of thing?
did not have to go. I had to spend 2 years of inactive reserve to fulfill a 6-year obligation that they had to contract.
So you didn't have to do anything?
But I
you
didn't have to go, no. But if they needed me, they would call me, and then I would have to go. But when I completed that 2 years, I got a letter, and that was it.
That was all she wrote?
That was it. I was completely done.
So tell me about basic training again. Was it like a...
It was not like, you know, I tell everybody this. When we went down, the first day you're there, you get new clothes, okay? And this guy was standing there with a tape measure around his neck. And he said, all right, now everybody's going to step up here. I'm going to measure your waist. You're not going to argue. You're going to keep your mouth shut. You're going to raise your arms. I'm going to find out what your waist is. And this man's going to give them to you. And then you move on. We got a lot of people to do today. That's how they talked, okay? So he walks up there, you know, and he grabs, you know, he thinks, oh, he's going to wrap that there. So he walks up and he takes his hands and he goes, 32, 32.
Yeah.
32.
Yeah.
And then he comes over and he goes, 32. And they all fit.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, when you see everybody wearing 32 waistbands, you think, okay, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
He's going to get down into his, and he's going to grow into his.
Yeah.
But that.
In other words, you're going to leave at 32.
You're going to be a 32 before in about a week,
Yeah.
and they're not kidding. So. But,
Was it like an eye opener, like what in the world have I done here?
Yeah, kind of. It sure was. I still remember my drill instructors. I was Sergeant Champion, spelled just like the spark plug, and he was a piece of work. And then there was Sergeant Prysock. Don't ask me how to spell that. Prysock. And then there was Sergeant Bratton, and he stood about 6'2", and he meant business.
So they yell at you the whole time?
We were yelled at every morning.
For 6 weeks?
For 6 weeks.
Did they deprive you of sleep?
No, we were not deprived of sleep. We were not deprived of food. We were not deprived of any water. I was down there from, like I said, August 1st to mid-September, which
that's the hottest time.
Hottest time in Texas, yes.
Lord, that's average 98 degrees, I guess, right?
It got warm. It's kind of a funny thing because when we left, when we got there, I noticed everybody had these sweat rings on their bill of their cap. And the ones with the sweat ring closest to the tip, they were finished. They were finished. And sure enough, when my sweat ring got to the end of the bill of my cap, I was finished. And so was that cap. That thing stunk. I had to go buy a new one.
It's funny how when you're working outside and you're getting real hot, a ball cap will get all the way, start getting here and here and here. So I've never had it get all the way to the end. That would be hot.
That's a lot of sweat.
If you're in that for 6 weeks, had you lost a lot of weight or gotten a lot more?
I didn't lose much weight. I didn't gain a whole lot of weight, simply for the fact that I was working at Beatty Feed and Hardware, and we were lifting sacks. Back then you could, a 100-pound sack wasn't nothing. Now you get over 40 pounds and OSHA comes through and screaming bloody murder. But my first day at Beatty Feed and Hardware, they says, well, he looks like a good, strong boy. He says, here, catch this. And they dropped a bushel bag of soybean seed on me. And he said, these bags cost $240 a piece, a bag. And I'm thinking, I just came to work here and I don't make nearly that much a week, you know. And I'm holding one bag and they drop another one and they drop a third one. And I thought, hey, wait a minute. And I set them down and backed up. So, you know, I was pretty good. I was in pretty good shape when I went in. I didn't have to have any physical training, remedial courses. I stayed with the program.
Did you have to run a lot?
We ran every day. We marched everywhere we went. As a matter of fact, it was against the code of ethics to be in an automobile while in basic training.
So you run like 5 miles a day?
Oh no, we didn't do that. We had physical training, and they start the new recruits. They start them out at a half a mile for about a week, and then 3/4 of a mile. But the ones that's been in there about 3 weeks and longer, we done the mile, and then to graduate, we done a mile and a half. But you start running a mile every day.
Especially after about 3 days in, you start getting sore from the other days.
We were sore 3 days. You know, your first 3 days is pretty much orientational. But after that,
you're sore for the next month.
Yeah.
Did they let you take Tylenol or ibuprofen?
I don't know. You had to go to the sick bay to get anything like that. But I never did. I thought, I ain't going to no sick bay. I thought, you know, I've seen what, you know, them yell and scream at people, you know, oh, so you've been to sick bay. You want to go back to sick, you know. I don't know. I ain't putting up with this, you know. So I kind of kept my nose clean and did what they said. And
so speaking of that, I you know, we had Ted Gobble's funeral the other day, and he worked at Magic Chef, right?
Yes, he did.
Did you see him often?
Only when I went through the office area. He was an accountant, I think. And when we needed some extra money or something, I carried paperwork up there to him. And I said, this is what we need. And he said, hey, hang on a minute. And he'd look over and then he'd hand it back, you know, with his signature on it, and I'd take it back. But that was my only work.
You saw Ted in a business role. I've always saw him just as an uncle. So was he the same?
Ted Gobble was tops 100%. In my book. He was very professional in everything he did. I didn't know that he was a lieutenant in the Army until we were doing his memorial there at the grave site. And I want to thank all my friends with the Bradley County Veterans Honor Guard for letting me fold and present the flag to his wife.
Did you request that?
I did request that I be to give the flag to her because I knew her. And I knew it'd be special to me and to her and to the family.
Do you do that regular?
Whenever I'm called.
How often a year?
2 weeks ago, we did 5 funerals, 3 in one day.
But so is that like a month you'll do 5 or 2?
I don't know. It's just, you know, we've lost just about all of our World War II veterans. Those that are still around are late 90s, early century, or 100 years old. I met a neighbor, I call him a neighbor, he lives several miles, about 2.5 miles down the road from me. He's 91 years old and served like I did. He didn't get to Korea, but he was at the end of Korea and served 90 consecutive days during the Korean conflict. And I served 90 consecutive days before April 30th, 1975.
So the Vietnam War was still going, it wasn't out of the possibilities of you going.
When I reported to Travis Air Base, going through personnel, they, in the military, every job has a number, okay? So they told us, this captain come out there and says, if you see your numbers, your job number on the board, I need to see you in the next room. Oh, there's mine. So I went in the next room. And he said, I just want to let everybody know that within the next 90 days, you'll have orders to Southeast Asia. Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, that whole section area, including the Philippines, I think. Anyway, that's the word I got. He said, take this and give it, to your sergeant. And my sergeant was Sergeant Baumgartner. And so I took it to him, and he said, okay. He said, get ready to go to work. I said, huh? He said, we got a whole bunch for you to do. And they did. I got a lot of training, probably a year's training in 45 days at night, weekends, almost like being in basic training.
So at that point, they thought that they might still have to go back.
We were still flying missions in and out of Vietnam.
Well, I bet you was glad when you heard the war, it was over, right?
About 80-something days into that 90 days, I got called back to his personnel office, and Sergeant Baumgartner come out there, and he shook my hand, and he said, you done real good. I said, I'm proud of you. I said, thank you. So I went to personnel office, and he read the list. Everybody said they were here. He said, okay, got everybody here. He said, just want to let everybody know all orders to Southeast Asia have been canceled. That was the January, February of '74. And I thought, well, okay. So I went back, and being the ignorant airman that I say I was, I asked him, I said, well, now that I've had all this training, what are you going to have me do? He said, oh, we got more for you to do. And that's where I became a ground pilot.
What's that?
It was a pile over here, and I piled it over here, and then I piled it back over here. So that's, I became the ground pilot instructor of our squadron.
So that's all they had you doing, basically?
No, my job was vehicle operations dispatch. So as because I'd already been trained on all the motorized vehicles, I had to go in and learn the office area. So I got to learn the dispatch part of it. And then I got promoted from 1 stripe to 2, and they let me operate the dispatch offices.
Well, a lieutenant, what was Ted? What is a lieutenant? What's the pecking order?
The officer of command goes from first lieutenant to second lieutenant.
So what's just the guy that goes in, private?
If you go in, you can go in either, if you've got the education, you can go in as an officer. If you've got, like, right out of high school, you go in as an enlisted.
So what was Gomer Pyle?
A great television show.
Well, they called him Private Gomer Pyle.
Private Pyle. You go in the Air Force, it's called airman.
Okay, airman.
Yeah, and but it's still, the officers are still the same. 1947 is when the Air Force got its own section of the military, and but they still kept the first, second lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, and then the generals. And in the enlisted part of it, what they call an enlisted, you have airman basic, airman first class, and then you got sergeant, E4, which is 3 stripes, and then E5, E6, all the way up to E9.
Where's the lieutenant? So what was Ted? A lieutenant?
He was a first lieutenant.
In the Army or?
Army. Sure was.
So that was a bit higher than a sergeant?
Depends on how they want to look at it. If you read in history, and I'm glad you brought this up, because this is how I can explain it. Do you remember H. Norman Schwarzkopf, the general?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When he was a captain, and he was in his office, and the first sergeant, they call him Top or, Pappy, your first sergeant. That's the only time you got to call the first sergeant something besides sergeant, is if you addressed him as Pappy or Top. So he's sitting there listening, and this first sergeant is, if you mess up again, we're going to kick you from here to China. We're going to take you out. We're going to beat you down. He's really berating this enlisted individual. And in his book, H. Norman Schwarzkopf, he says, I got up, I walked in there, and I said, Top, I don't mind you threatening these troops to get what we need done. But when you involve me and you say we, and I think I know you're talking about me, he said, it bothers me a little bit. And he said, oh, Captain, I ain't talking about you, I'm talking about, and he turns around and he pulls out a sawed-off baseball bat out of a fire hose sheath. He said, I'm talking about me and Stumpy. So, where does the officer and the sergeant meet? I had a lieutenant who looked at me when I made a decision, or when I made a comment, and he said, are you sure about that? And I said, well, it's worked in the past. And he said, do it. So, the lieutenant has got to give respect to his other sergeants who have, walked through the water, I'm gonna call it that, and got their boots wet, and somebody who's, just wading in the water, So it goes both ways.
But it's hard to get to be a lieutenant, right? That's a lot of...
Not really. If you, like I said, if you've got the education and you go through a basic training, just like, basic training for the enlisted, then, you will get your bars. ROTC units, UTC, I think University of Tennessee Knoxville still got theirs, but once you complete that 4 years, then you're automatically lieutenant and you get to go in. So.
Well, it's a good thing. It makes you wonder if we should have the military training for people now. I wish I'd have gone to something like that, but.
It's different. You've got a different set of rules and regulations. You've got, you can make it what you want it to be. You can go in thinking you're the toughest, baddest thing that come around and get beat up all the time because somebody's always got somebody that's tougher and better than you are. Or you can go in, keep your nose clean, do what's respected, do what's asked of you, do your job, fulfill all obligations. No problem.
So did you learn anything in the military that
helped me in civilian life?
Yeah, you still.
Yes, I did.
What was that?
It's hard for me to do this, but keep your mouth shut. In a meeting, when you're in with peers and somebody's unless they ask you.
So in the military, you don't do that.
You best just keep your mouth shut. Another thing is if you want to achieve this level of training or this or this position in the squadron, show you can do it.
So be first in the group to do it.
Not first, just be able to do it, because they will weed out who hesitates and who don't. For instance, in the dispatch office there at Travis, we had the busiest flight line in the whole world there on Travis. We had B-52s, KC-135 refuelers, C-5A Galaxies, 141s, and they were constantly on the tarmac. The dispatcher for the flight line got confused, and he forgot who was to you know, which routes they were to take. And the lieutenant came in and he said, is Airman Nipper here tonight? And they go, yeah, he's on the shuttle route. He said, you and the guy that messed up he says, you go get him. So he came out, got me, and told me, he says, man, the lieutenant's upset. He said, the flight line's messed up. He said, you've got a mess to clean up. I thought, no, I've got your mess to clean up.
Yeah.
So I went in there and I looked around, and sure enough, he did. He really, you know, had everybody going in circles and doing nothing. So I sat down and got on the radio and called all my drivers and found out where they were, who they were with, and what they were doing. And I had to know where the buildings were for each squadron, which alleys that they would take to get to the next one, where the aircraft were that they were going to. And it took me about 45 minutes to clear the board. And when I started calling, I heard people on the radio, because you're on that frequency, you're talking to a lot of people on the flight line. And I heard somebody say, hey, Nipper's on the phone. He said, we're going to get it cleared up. So that was.
So if you're doing something today, tomorrow, do you think you're pulling from some of that military training?
What the military taught me was this: if it's going to be done, and they've got me to do it, it's my job. If I've got trees down in my yard, I'm the one that's going to have to cut them up. I'm the one that's going to have to stack the wood in the barn. If my grass needs mowing, I can either pay somebody to mow it, or I can mow it myself. I want to mow it myself because I've planted some new shrubbery out there, and if they run over them, my wife's going to shoot me. So it's like I said, it's up to that individual. You can go in thinking, I ain't going to do it, or I signed up for this.
I'm going to take charge and be responsible for what I'm responsible of.
It's you, yeah.
Even if you mess up.
Even if you mess up. You learn to take the responsibility. You messed up, now you pay the consequences. That's for you, you pile it over here, you pile it over there, you pile it back over here.
What was it like in Alaska?
Different. Totally different.
I mean, 2 years, right?
2 years.
A guy from Boat's Pocket, 2 years in Alaska.
2 years in Alaska. I got off the plane there at Fairbanks Airport. The temperature was minus 30 degrees and getting colder.
Does that feel like around here when it's one of those real cold winter days, or is it just a whole lot colder? Or what's the feel?
I don't know how to answer that. It's cold. And when it's not going to get warm for a while, it's cold. I do remember one night at minus 72 degrees, there wasn't nobody supposed to be out, and I walked to the duty section that night. I walked from the barracks to the chow hall, from the chow hall to the mail room, from the mail room onto the duty section. I don't know, probably about 3/4 of a mile. And they took me into the medical center the next morning. The first sergeant come knocking down the door because I worked the midnight to 8 shift, and I'm about ready to fall off into la-la land. And they come and wake me up and drag me into the medical center and put me in a room and go over my body looking for frostbite.
Why'd you walk that far?
Well, I didn't have a vehicle, and I always went that way because I left the barracks to the chow hall, got my midnight meal, and I always go to the post office and check my mail. And if I had time, I would sort it out, look at what I needed or what I want, and read it because it was letters from my wife or my mother or somebody. And I would go through that, and I would be by myself. I could think and get my thoughts together before I got to the duty section. And there it was. But did I mess up on things when I made sergeant? Yeah, I messed up a couple of times, and was told and reprimanded for that. I had to accept the responsibility.
So 2 years in Hawaii, was it cold all the time?
No, during the months of summer, which consisted of, it seemed like half a month of June, July, August, and half of September, it was very pleasant. I've got a picture on my phone from a guy that I met several years ago, about 20 years ago. He come through, and it's got a picture of me standing outside the barracks without a shirt on in the month of June.
So it was 55,
It
60.
was about 60, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
So it does get warm. But, I mean, think about it. Minus 72, it's got to warm up 100 degrees just to thaw out.
Yeah. Man. I've been out when it's real cold like that. You get to where you could break your nose even by just, and frostbite is a real thing, isn't it?
Frostbite is a real thing. My dad got frostbite in Korea. That's what disabled him.
What was his feet or hands?
Both.
Could he feel them later?
Oh yeah. But it set up an arthritis, and he was. It's. I don't like talking about it because it's my dad, and
Yeah.
it gets bad.
What about your? Did you say you had a brother or a sister?
I do have 2 sisters and a brother. They all live here in Bradley County. I've got a nephew who is the basketball coach at Lake Forest. He's a little bit short fella, stands 6'8". Hope y'all seen the humor in that. But
Where'd he get that height, reckon?
it had to be from his mother.
The mother's side?
Yeah, his mother's side. She's a rather tall lady. And my brother, he's a little bit taller than I am. He's 6'1", 6'2". But Andrew, my brother says he just grew.
People are taller than they used to be, I think, don't you?
I think they are, yeah. Some of the people that I used to admire and look at years ago, I looked at them at eye level, and now I look at them, I got to raise my head to these authority figures that, like my nephew, and some other people that I've dealt with in the past. I kind of look up to them. But
overall, life's been good, hasn't it, for you?
it has been good to me. My wife and I will be celebrating on the 28th day of this month. We'll be celebrating 51 years of marriage with each other. We've got 2 daughters. I've got 2 fantastic son-in-laws.
Well, that's a big help, isn't it?
You just don't know it. Those girls picked out good men. And I've got 8 grandkids. 4 of them are married. One of them has blessed me with a great-grandson.
Lord help.
And I want to talk about this great-grandson's daddy. He is active duty at a place out in Colorado. He just received his wings. He's a warrant officer, pay grade W01. And he was flying helicopters.
For the Air Force?
No, he's with the Army.
Oh, Army.
Yeah, he wanted to go in the Air Force, but they kept putting him off and putting him off and putting him off. And the Army recruiter said, hey, he said, you want to fly helicopters? And he said, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, so he's flying helicopters.
Boy, if your kids marry somebody, that's a big thing about it, because you get stuck with the other side of the family, or if they're, that can just change everything, can't it?
I can't talk good enough about my son-in-laws. The oldest daughter's husband is he's a master's degree in wildlife biology. He works for the Department of Georgia Natural Resources. And he's doing a real fine job in that area. He's with the Rome County there, Rome, Georgia, and Floyd County station, and they've got a large area in the north part of Georgia. So he's patrolling that wildlife and fish and fish and game.
I've noticed you got hearing aids, right?
I do.
You know, you would not believe the people who I've had on here that have hearing aids. It's like a fourth of them, hasn't it, Gwen? It's a bunch of them. I wonder if there's something going around where people can't hear as good, or what's the deal?
It's being in industry without having ear protection, where I was, I spent a lot of time in the office setting up the stock room, and it wasn't required ear protection. Then from there, I got another assignment to go out and start doing the work on the equipment. And sometimes I'd have, if I was going to be there a long time, I put it on, and it wasn't required to wear it. Now, the minute you walk into the shop floor or the assembly area of Whirlpool, you've got to have safety shoes, hearing protection, and eye protection.
But not everybody here that come here has been in a loud industry.
No.
I don't know if it's just, I've just not noticed it in the past, or
Over years, you start.
I guess that's what it is. Now they're getting to where they're so small. Maybe maybe they had them before.
I'm surprised you've seen these, because a lot of people says, I didn't even know you wore them.
I noticed when I talk, you look directly at me. I think you're trying to make sure you hear.
I do. It's a little bit more respect. I mean, I'd rather look at you as my ugly face on the monitor up there.
But I've noticed people that have hearing aids. Before you notice the hearing aids, you'll notice they're watching you to see if you're talking, to make sure they're seeing your face expressions, so they can correlate it with what they hear, I think.
Oh yeah. There's a lady that where I went to Englewood this morning and done the preaching. She can't hardly hear at all, so she reads lips. Well, it's gotten so bad with her, and it's just something that comes with age.
I guess, yeah.
It is. It is, because she's never, she's loudest thing she's been around is a lawnmower. So, she said, and the guy who directs the sermons services, he said, Miss Millie here needs some assistance. So what I do is I print out my sermon and I give her a copy. And she just tickled to death every time she gets one, because she can keep that.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. And she follows along. I mean, when I turn a page, she turns a page. It's good for her that she knows what, I'm talking about.
In singing with just 8 people, that's a little odd, isn't it?
I hear myself a lot.
I mean, you don't have anybody to drown you out if you're not.
No, if you're off
You
key.
could put 8 people around this table.
That's right.
I could live in a small town like Englewood.
No, you'd starve to death. You'd go crazy.
I don't know. The more I get around people, the less I want to be around people, I think. Isn't there another town besides Englewood? If you drive down that road, you got Benton, Etowah, Englewood, Madisonville.
That's in Monroe County.
But isn't there another one right there that I can't keep thinking of?
Yeah.
It's like Englewood's here, Athens is here,
East of it.
and
West.
east of it. That's one thing.
West. Go west.
Yeah, west is a town that's not on either one of those roads. And I can never think of the name of that. It starts with an I or an E.
I'm lost.
But am I thinking right?
I'm not sure.
But you said east, so you're thinking there is something there too.
Well, there's a lot of different little communities around that don't function anymore like they used to. right after World War II, it seemed like the industry took over and everybody left the little communities and went to the big cities, or the cities to do the
World War
work of
II,
factories.
what year was that? 43?
1945. That's when it ended.
There's a Claxton there. Remember, there's a Claxton? That's on this side of the river. So these little communities like Inglewood, see, that was the main road, 411 highway. That was the way you...
Still is.
Well, that's Kingston Pike, basically,
Okay.
isn't it?
I don't know.
I think if you keep going down 411, you're on Kingston Pike.
You may do it, yeah.
It parallels the interstate, really. So I guess that was where people would stop and go to the, the motor, those little motels on the side of the road, the one-level motels.
Mom and pop, well, they
yeah.
were mom and pop shop, motels, hotel,
They call them
motels.
something else. Motor lodge.
Motor inns,
lodge,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess if we fast forward this, what do we think will happen with the industry? Is if industry with robotics, will industry go back the other way and not it'd be more robots and people going back? I mean, things always go back and forth.
There's going to be people needed to put the product on the conveyor belt. They have got computers that would do that. Those people who used to sit around and shoot what they call shoot screws in the range, 12 and 14 screws in the back of a range, 800 times a day. That gets old quick.
Yeah.
But they thought that job was their job, and they loved it. They wanted everybody to just leave me alone. There ain't nothing going to.
And there's some people like that, and I could get there. I could, I'm going to do these 8, and I'm going to listen to the radio in my head or whatever. And
no, the other one's coming right behind
Yeah.
us. So the level of the employee is going to have to step up. Education is going to have to step up and keep up with it. If you want to advance, it's just like in the military. You're going to have to show people you can do the job, want the job, and fulfill the job. Show up every day for work. That was another thing in the military. You don't get I don't feel like it today. You better go to the hospital and you better come back with a doctor saying, he's got papilla to punk or whatever it is you got, and get the day off. You don't. That's a disease my daddy thought of. Papilla the punk.
Papilla the punk.
So, don't get me tickled. I'll be here all day long. So we go from there. Today we've got.
Well, people have to bring home a paycheck. So who's going to do it? You can't really open up your own business because it's too many rules.
You're about to get me off into politics, and I'm not going to go there.
So, well, let's stay off the politics and just stay on the
industry part
the
of it?
fundamental, the basic. What will happen if they don't have factories? If robots are going to do it, and they got one person instead of 10, one's keeping the robot with caulk, as you said, or keeping caulk in the tank, then what are the other people going to do?
Here's what I seen in industry, and this is what set me off, but I couldn't do nothing about it. I'm not in HR. But the younger people would come to work, I got to have a job. And they go to work, they go through orientation, takes about 2 weeks to go through orientation. Then they get put, 1 week through orientation, and then they get put on a assembly line to learn to do 1 or 2 different jobs. And they come down about this far apart. And they're traveling, at a slow, steady pace. Now, your job is to put 8 screws in the back of this unit. And they learn that. Okay, now take this part and put it here and put 2 more screws in. And it builds up from that. What I seen was the training was good, the Orientation on the assembly track was good. Could have been a little bit better, but there again, not everybody's Bob Nipper, so not everybody's going to do this. And they get frustrated. They show up for work the next week, and now they're supposed to know how to do this. Okay. I've seen them quit in 2 days.
All because they didn't have one more week of training or something
all
like that.
because they got frustrated. All because, wait a minute, we got to show up tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning? Yep. Well, what if I don't feel like it? You won't get paid. So they stay there long enough to get a couple of paychecks. They stay there long enough to fill an obligation, and then they go down and file for unemployment.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
So now they're happy with the bare minimum. How many people are not happy with the bare minimum? You're not.
No, but people are getting more comfortable with it, I think. I think people are getting more simple in their wants. You know, when we were growing up, if you had a 3-bedroom house, you're just going for a 4-bedroom house. You know, we had button-down collars. We had ties to wear. Every banker in town had a suit and tie on.
Yep.
And then they had the Fridays no tie. Now they don't even wear them.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe that era was an era of just do better, build better, be better, get more money. Maybe it's not the thing to do. Maybe we just live a simpler life. You know.
And I'm right in the middle of the baby boom era, and that's what we're having to do right now. I'm living on what I've put aside for retirement, and my wife, same way, and we're having to scale back. Do we? Well, we want to go. Let's go down and see so and so. No, we don't do that. You know, we don't do that often. Well, we've run out of this. Can we wait? Can we wait a couple of days to go to the store? Yeah. Okay. So we wait. We do what we need to do instead of what we want to do. That's.
I think. You ever remember when things were not going your way and you was just trying to hang on?
Yes, I remember when my kids were young. I remember coming home thinking, okay, I got paid. We can splurge a little bit. We can go down and have a pizza. You know, that would, you know, back then, you know, $25 would buy a pizza and feed 4 people.
Yeah.
Take a couple of pieces home even.
Yeah.
And a pitcher of Pepsi.
Yeah.
You know, and I would say, well, can we go out and do that? No, we ain't got no money. What do you mean we ain't got no money? I just brought up. We got doctor bills, light bills, phone bills, you know, and you look back. So my wife got a job in somewhere along 1990s, early 1990s, and in a financial institution, and they had private accounts. None of the other people, employees at this financial institute could look at their account. I understand that. So I took the old bank account and said, I need to learn how to do this. By doing that, I found out I had the most wonderful wife because I started paying the bills. And I found out we don't got no money. Pardon that English.
Yeah.
we don't got none. So, you know, and I would pay the bills and do this, and she'd come in, you know, she's got her money, I've got everything. And she'd ask me, she says, have you got this paid, that paid? I said, yes, dear, I've got it paid. There was one time I messed up and I had to get to the bank, take some out of savings to cover a check that I put in the mail. Well, she wrung my chops because I had to go to that institution there at this bank. And one of the other gentlemen, he's sitting there, one of the other customers, he said, man, she really wrung his chops. And the lady looked at him and she said, yeah, she takes care of all of our past delinquent accounts. And he said, whew. But I'll never forget that. That was one
Well,
of the,
if she hadn't, you might have just kept doing it. You
I
know,
would have.
because you get in habits.
and we do get in habits. Right now, today, everything in my house, all the bills are paid. I'm waiting on the end of the month to receive, and I know how much those bills come to. That money is there. So, you know, I know it's there. I can't deal with it. I've been doing it for a few years now. But when I took over that checkbook and started taking that load off of her shoulders,
Yeah.
man, did I have a wonderful wife. She's wonderful.
Because she was dealing with it before that.
She
right?
was dealing with it and feeling
The
the
pressure.
pressure.
Yeah.
Men, let me share, men out there right now, listen to me. Women dread having to pay money. They like receiving it, they like having it, they like spending it, but we got to make this house payment, we got to pay this electric bill, we got to pay the water bill, all the bills that they think it's just terrible, terrible. Men, this is how you think. I got to pay that. I got to pay that. We need this. We need that. It don't bother us because we know we need it.
Yeah.
Women do it because they see it going out
Instead of coming in.
instead of coming in. Men bring it in, we pay it, get done with it.
Well, it sometimes helps if both sides know what you're spending, though. That's the thing about writing checks. It's harder to spend money if you're actually writing it. Boy, if you had to pay cash for everything, you wouldn't even have cable, would you?
No?
You wouldn't even have cable if you had to pay for it every time you watch TV. If you had to take $5.
Stick a dollar in the.
You wouldn't spend it.
Do I want to watch this or not? No.
My cable bill's $288, something like that a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even sure what it includes.
They keep saying we get more and more. And yet you've got to go. This is what I was talking about. Older people don't want to do. They want to turn the TV on. They want to turn the channel. They want to watch the program. They want to turn it off. Now, in order to find out what all my cable comes through, I've got to log into this, set up a password,
and verify your password.
and verify my password.
Check your phone when they send it to your phone.
Check my
I
phone.
hate that.
Yeah.
What's somebody going to do? Steal my cable? So stupid. But I've got Roku now, and I about watch just all Roku, but I think you have to have internet for Roku.
Mm-hmm.
So they get you there.
Yeah.
And then when you go to your Spectrum, it's just I bet we don't even use our phone line, but I still got it because it's just $10, something like that.
I've got mine on. I've still got my landline.
I never use it. I don't know why we don't just get rid of that. See, you have to have internet to get on Roku.
Yeah. This is strange, and everybody says you need to go play those numbers at the lottery. When I fulfilled my obligations with the military and came home, in California, our zip code number was 95688. When we got our first phone number, when we moved in down here in Tasso, one of those, subsidized housing units, it was well built. I took care of it. But we got our phone number. I'll never forget it. 95688.
What are the odds?
2 years after we left California, we get the same number as our zip code was in California.
What are the odds of that? It makes you wonder if that's not a simulation.
I don't know. I just thought, this has got to be the
956. I'll have stuff like that happen, and it'll happen like 3 times in a row, like being down in Buck's Pocket yesterday, and all of a sudden I found out you're from Buck's Pocket. I hadn't been to Buck's Pocket in 10 years.
I grew up down on Hughes Lake Road, and my grandparents lived right next door to us. And Grandpa at one time owned a huge part of that property. It went all the way from Hughes Lake Road, back through the woods, all the way to Spring Place Road. Bo Waters offered him, I don't know what it was, but he sold it for them. So they could get all that together. When Bo Waters, from what Mother said, contacted everybody in the family at that time under my grandfather's name and asked them if they wanted to purchase that land. And Mother said, well, can I buy it for what you paid for it? And of course that answer was no. That ain't gonna happen. But that was, they bought it in the early 50s and
Didn't they have a pretty high water table down there?
they did.
I mean, it's not good for septic tanks, really.
No. They're building houses on that area down there right now, left and right.
I built a house on Green Shadow Road. It's just past there on the left. Green Shadow Drive.
That's
I remember.
before you get to Hughes Lake Road.
Green Shadow Drive.
Yep.
There used to be a convenience store on the right going down. I can't remember the name of that place.
Used to be Thacker's, and then it was Pump and Go,
Pump and Go.
and now I don't know what it's called.
That's a whole different world if you're from around Cleveland. You don't go out there unless you're going to work in Dalton. That's what, 5 miles from Dalton? 4?
It's further than
Or
that.
to Georgia? To the
Yeah,
Georgia line?
To the Georgia line, yeah.
How far?
3.5, 4 miles, maybe 5. I don't know.
To Clara's? Is it Clara's? That convenience store where you can go buy Georgia lottery tickets on Spring Place?
No, they don't sell. They on Spring Place. No, they won't. They don't sell lottery tickets there anymore.
They did.
They did.
Yeah.
But they sold it, and
They used to sell tip boards. Remember the old tip
I
boards?
remember a few of those tip boards.
And they'd sell them.
Yeah.
I bought one. I kept buying till I won. Had a little more money in it. Till I thought I got to win at some point. Remember, you'd roll that little piece of paper out.
Yeah. Look for that number.
Boy, the people wouldn't know what we was talking about now, would we? If we talk about a
doubt
tip
it.
board.
I doubt it. People don't know what a payphone is.
No. What do you think? You going to do anything exciting now that you're in your 70s?
Well, for the last several years, I've been attending the Chattanooga School of Preachers and Biblical Studies. I've got almost 20 hours of studies under my belt with that. As far as that, I'm volunteering with the Bradley County Veterans Honor Guard. Boy, now that you got me thinking about it, back earlier this year, I got handed the coordinatorship for the Memorial Day, Veterans Day ceremonies here in Bradley County. We have moved that location from outside area to courthouse. Waterville Baptist Church has offered their facility indoor. So if it's hot, we're cool. If it's raining, we're dry. And everybody seemed to, we had the Memorial Day celebration there, ceremonies, and it went real well. We got that done. The Veterans Day ceremony is scheduled, and I've got to start making sure everything's ready for it. I've already got the MC, the guest speaker. I've got the color guard already lined up.
What's the difference between the color guard and the honor guard?
The color guards carry the flags. That's the color, your colors.
But they do the same. Do they have color guards for funerals?
No,
So
we haven't. We don't have the facility, the manpower.
So when
to do
somebody
that.
passes away and they're a veteran, if they request it, then the honor guard comes.
They have to prove that, number one, this individual deserves it, He's got certain paperwork that they got to carry to the director. The director calls our commander, and the commander makes a call to get volunteers to come for that
And
day.
do they all do the same thing? Is it the same ceremony type thing?
It is the same type ceremony.
So you'd say the same thing in all of them?
Basically, yeah, it just depends on the individual. What I say if I'm presenting the flag to the family, it's rather lengthy, but it talks about the individual learning, growing up, saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. He stood beside it to take an oath to defend this flag through against all enemies, foreign and domestic. He looked for the flag on the battlefield and at sea for guidance and safety. And today, this flag is given to you, thanking you for his service or her service. So that's what I say to him. And somebody else might come up and say something different. I don't know, but that's what I say to him.
Boy, it's very moving, isn't it, when you give that to those widows?
You know, when we fire it off, I like to be in a position when we pull those triggers.
Yeah.
Because you got, 6 people, giving the 21 gun salute, 7 people, even 5 people, sometimes we've only had 4 firing a weapon. But with just 4 firing at the same time, the people will jump.
Yeah. Are they blanks?
They are blanks. We do fire blanks. We have on the weapon, there is a blank device that's on the end of the barrel so that nothing does come out of it and hit somebody. So, and we check those each and every time. We check and make sure that thing is secure.
Well, that's almost a ministry in itself, isn't it, doing that?
It is. The gentlemen that do this are all volunteers. We're all veterans, and I couldn't be with a better group.
And they're taking their Saturday, their Sunday, their Monday evenings, their Tuesday mornings.
I have been called out. A meeting. I've had 10 o'clock funerals, 2 o'clock funerals, 4 o'clock funerals. It just.
So you do what? 5 a month?
It depends. It really depends. Dee, I really don't know how to stress this. I can't say how many we do. At last count, we had this year almost 60. This year. A couple of years ago, that whole year, they did 103. The majority of them were World War II veterans.
There's 5 to 10 a month anyway.
I think so, yeah. I'd say that.
That's a lot of coordination.
It takes some getting to get together. Sure does. Takes a lot of resources, a lot of money.
Yeah. Do they have to pay for that, or is that?
We are all volunteers. The only thing I have had to purchase is shoes and pants, and my own vehicle getting to the American Legion, and that's where we meet. This group that I'm with right now, Bradley County Veterans, have received a 2-year-old van to replace the almost 25-year-old van that we were using that was beginning to start costing us a whole lot of money to operate. But this one we got is very comfortable. It's a 23 model, and it holds what we need and who we need.
Well, it's very moving, that's for sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
What else is up, Bob?
What else is up for Bob? My wife is struggling from complications of multiple sclerosis. She has got a hover round that she gets around in. She, bless her heart, I love her to death. But it's tough being the only, her caregiver.
How long has this been?
She got diagnosed with it in the mid-90s, 1990s.
Any complications during that period?
Not when she first got diagnosed, but what we found out about multiple sclerosis, and when she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I resigned from the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association, the Tri-County Football Officials Association. I had to write a letter of resignation and telling them why I was quitting, because I had no idea what multiple sclerosis does, or what to expect. I also resigned from the American Red Cross, where I was a water safety instructor, first aid instructor, CPR instructor, lifeguard instructor. So I was fairly busy outside my life there, plus raising my oldest daughter. Had gotten married and was still going to school at the University of Georgia. And that's where I'm going to stop with that, because she had to go to 2 other schools anyway. But my youngest daughter, she was coming into her own. Her senior year in high school, I asked for a leave of absence from the Tri-County Football Officials Association to travel with her. She was a cheerleader for Charleston High School. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, she was a cheerleader there. She went to, and then I supported her to finish up at UTC in Chattanooga. And there her last year, she met her husband, who, I told you about my first daughter, my oldest daughter's husband, but Steve, he works for, he's a civil engineer, graduated from Georgia Tech. And he works with an engineering firm that figures out how much per square inch a piece of concrete is going to take to build towers so people can drive across. Is one of the things he does. Yeah. If you've been through Atlanta in the last several years, they've got that road that goes up over.
Yep.
Yeah, well, those towers, that's what he did. He figured out
The breaking points and all that.
Breaking points about, yeah, he's got some math skills. So, I'm blessed with what's going on. I'm hoping I can go down and see them more. I wish my wife could travel, but taking care of her is top priority for me right now. I'm chief cook and bottle washer.
Just you and her living there? Just you and her living there?
Yeah, we live there, just the two of us. Steve and Nicole, they live in Woodstock, Georgia. So my daughter's married well. I'm happy with them. Love them to death. Love my son-in-laws. And they've taken good care of my daughters. But the wife and I were the only ones there. I'm chief cook, bottle washer. I'm also head caretaker for the grounds.
Yeah. Any pets?
She's got 2 cats. Now hang on.
So they're in charge.
Hang on. I'm gonna upset the apple cart right here. I have ordered me a robotic dog. It's a little. It's a little.
Just
bitty.
to terrorize the cats.
Yeah, and it's voice activated. It follows. It's supposed to be. So I'm gonna have to read up and find out what this dog.
Yeah.
But the best thing, it don't eat. It don't need to go outside.
Right.
It don't shed. I don't have to take it to the vet.
Yeah.
So it's got the 4 main ingredients I like: cheap, and cheaper.
So her MS, is it any cures for that?
Only for some of the medication. Now let me describe. You know anything about MS?
No, I know it's those lesions, they call it, the white blood cell and lesions or something. They get to, they see more on the microscope than others. In the spinal cord.
They look,
right?
Okay. You're thinking of spinal sclerosis.
Yeah.
Okay, multiple sclerosis is this. Sclerosis, time out just a minute. Take a regular electric wire. You've got the copper that goes through it. You've got insulation that goes around that copper to keep it from not working correctly. Okay, the nerve, every nerve in your body has a insulator called myelin. Just like the insulation on a wire. If that insulation on that wire gets cut or damaged, it short circuits. Sclerosis attacks the myelin on the nerve.
Sclerosis does.
Yes. And they call it multiple sclerosis because it attacks the whole body, not one arm or leg. It's not localized.
So it attacks the myelin?
It attacks the myelin. Now, there's no medication that repairs myelin. The body does not make repairs to the myelin like it would, when you get cut. So with those two factors, you're pretty much wiped out. You've got a mild case, which she has, and it's lasted, about 30-something years, going on 40 years, which she's got. You've got a medium, which cuts it about in half, and then you've got the worst case of it all, of aggressive. And that's nasty. It will attack a person and wipe you out real quick.
Yeah, boy.
But as time goes on, so does the sclerosis. So does her symptoms. She can't stand up more than, 10, 15 minutes at a time.
After it attacks the myelin, does it go deeper or does it stop?
As all the nerves in the body, they've all got myelin. So really what happens is this right here. I'm telling my left hand to pick that cup up. So what's going to happen if I had multiple sclerosis, then I would.
So it'd tell part of it to do something, but the circuit would be broke.
It would feel that, but it wouldn't.
Yeah. Or it might grip but not move, whatever the thing is.
Yeah. And I have to, think about it. That's what multiple sclerosis does. And like I said, I've seen all three sides of it.
What is sclerosis? Just a bacteria or something?
I don't know what it is. Don't know where it comes from. Don't know what she done to do it. Since 1974, we've been together, with the exception of my tenure in Alaska, which was 76 and 77. But we have been together just about the same places everywhere we've been. I don't know, I've been to places that, and I've done things at work that's, you actually went in there and did that, yeah, I did. It got done. Why she got it and I didn't is like, why we went bald and Joe down here didn't, and he's our age.
Yeah. We're just lucky, I guess.
We're just lucky and went bald. I just started shaving mine off about a year ago because I got tired of going to the doctor. I got tired of going to the barber and them charging me $20.
What do you use? Razor?
I use it's a little.
You shaving cream?
No, I just sometimes I use soap. Sometimes I use water. Depends on how fast.
Either way it goes.
Either way, I just take it slowly, roll it around, and it gets rid of it.
Are you glad you did that?
Sometimes, but sometimes I'm not. I kind of, miss, taking my hand and running it through my hair. And every once in a while I feel one stick me.
Yeah.
But no, I don't regret it. I don't have to make time to go to the barber shop or the beauty parlor or, them kid me about, oh boy, I get, I make money on you, I cut two hairs,
You're there
$20,
5 minutes,
$5 a hair, $10 a hair. And that price keeps going up.
Boy, it does. It costs me $30 anymore. And I don't even have any hair.
$30, I could have.
$25, $5 tip.
$60, you can buy all those shavers and get one of those trim kits and take care of it at home.
I'm thinking about doing that, but
This is what it
I
looks
keep
like.
thinking they're going to come up with a cure.
Really?
I'm thinking they'll come up with a disease and I'll grow more hair. Do you think?
Called a wig.
You glad you've retired? You're just staying constantly busy doing volunteer work. You ever thought about
Charging for that?
yeah, or getting a part-time job rather than doing all this volunteer work?
If it wasn't for my wife, yeah, I would. I would get a part-time job if it wasn't for
Do you
her.
think you'd feel better
No.
working?
What gets me right now is one day, and I hadn't been retired that long, but I got up early that morning. I went out and was working out in the yard, and I thought, okay, I'll go in and, you know, check on the wife and see how she's doing. See if she's got breakfast, see if she needs any more coffee, you know, and to take a break. And I was gone 3 hours outside. When I walked in the house, I found her laying on the floor. Now, ask me more questions. Where do I want to be?
Yeah, you can't do it. You got to be right there, man.
So if I'm volunteering, I go here, I call before I give her a kiss and hug her, you know, and hug her the best I can before I leave because she's sitting in a recliner. When I get back, I give her a call. Do I need to stop and get anything? Whenever I'm headed home, I call her to make sure she's all right. So yeah, we're doing okay with it.
Well,
Kind of like your teenager, you know, you gonna call me when you get there, and call me when you know get ready to come home. And if anything happens, you call me. If you go anywhere else, you call me.
right.
You know, and that,
Well, when they don't do that, it'll drive you crazy, man. I told mine, I said, if you don't start calling, I'm gonna put one of those things
Tracker.
on your phone, tracker, and they start calling. That'll change their mind.
growing up in the 70s, we didn't have cell phones and we didn't have
No.
trackers, and we had. But now, here's a little story about my sisters. My sister got her driver's license, and they had. Let's see here. Let me count. I don't want to mention any of these names because everybody's still alive. There was 2, 3, 4. There was 5, maybe 6 other girls that were real close friends, and it was on a Wednesday night. And Becky says, "Can we go to church service?" "Yes, but you be careful." All right. So they go to church service and they meet up with one other, and they say, "Hey, let's have a slumber party." "Yeah, let's go get so and so, and we'll go by and get so and so, and we'll go by and get so." You know, well, you know, here it is. You know, getting late,
Yeah.
and I just come in from work and stopped and filled up the car, mine, that Daddy had, you know, given me. I'm a senior in high school, and Mother says, "I'm gonna go find them." And Daddy said, "Well, where are you gonna go look?" She says, "I'll find them." And she goes out there and she says, "How much fuel you got in your?" He said, "My truck's empty." And he said, "I got enough to get to the station." And she said, "How much you got?" I said, "I got a full tank." She said, "Give me your keys." So Mother jumps in the car and takes off, and she drives up the road about a half a mile, and here they come. Which, you know, made me happy because I didn't have to get another tank of fuel.
Right.
But anyway, that's, you know, every one of those places they went to had a phone.
Well, you know, back then, you almost had to ask people, "Do you mind if I use your phone?"
A lot
You know,
of
that
times,
was sort of, some people didn't even want you to use the phone.
I know, call this number for me
Yeah.
and tell them where I'm at and what I'm doing.
You know, I was out riding yesterday with my bicycle, and I got way out on the middle of York Road, and I got a flat tire. So I had turned around and walked my bicycle
Home.
with those cleats, and people passed me all the time. I even went by one lady that had a yard sale, and I thought, should she ask me if I can use her phone, or should I ask her if I can use her phone? What's the proper thing? I just kept walking because I didn't know. But anyway, I finally got to, because back, you know, that's something we grew up with. You asked to use somebody's phone. You say, you know, you'd say, "Do you mind if I could use your phone?" You know, I won't make
I
a
don't want
collect
you,
call.
you know.
Yeah.
And well, here, call this number and have them come and get me.
You know, I got all the way out to the end of Hancock Road, and this dog come after him. And I put the bicycle between me and the dog, and a guy came out, and he said he won't bite you. And I said, yeah, I can see he's okay, because he slowed down. He said, jump in the van. I'll take you where you're going.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I said, well, I can just walk. He said, it'll take you 2 hours. And he was right, because I had walked already an hour. And so I got in the car with him, van, and he said, what's your name? And I said, Dee Burris. And he said, well, I know you. I'm Dan the Dozer Man. And I said, is that you, Dan? He said, yeah. And it was Dan Melton. And he drove me all the way back to the airport, and we just had the good conversation, distant kin in a way.
Yeah.
And you know, you don't forget those. I'll ride my bike 100 more times, and I won't remember them, but I'll remember Dan driving me back. You know, so the point is, the only person that helped me was the one that the dog came after. Not the lady that had the yard sale. Or, you know.
My wife and I, when she found out she had multiple sclerosis and still was able to pick her legs up and function, we bought a motorcycle. You may remember it when we lived up next door. Big red gold wing. Oh, we thought we was wonderful on that gold wing, and we had a good time. But with the motorcycles, I was thinking we experienced 4 flat tires.
Well, you get a flat tire on one of those things, you're just stuck.
Yeah, you are.
You don't have a phone.
But people stopped and helped. You know, one of the signals that they have as motorcyclists is, you know, they'll beep beep, you know, up or down, up or down, you know, and you know, I'm down, you know, and they'll stop and turn around. You don't know who these people are, but because you told them you were down, they'll turn around. And
they
come
see
back.
you in the rearview mirror with you going like that.
Yeah, or driving by. I mean, you know, how long does it take to do this? You know, they hold up and do that, and you just do this, you know, here they come back. And they helped us. We've experienced a lot of help. But when you're 2 hours away from home, that gets scary. That gets scary. But they seen we were in trouble. They came and helped us. Called a friend. He come over with a friend, loaded it on their trailer, took us to an overnight facility. From there, we called a rollback. He come and got us, took us to the shop, and they repaired it. Okay, it took us a half a day off of our trip, but we had a enjoyable trip after that.
You remember those trips,
yeah,
don't you?
I remember.
You can't throw a motorcycle in the back of a truck or a van. You gotta have a real somebody with a rollback, or especially those new motorcycles. They're so heavy now, aren't they?
So you know, you've got to be able to trust people.
Was she gonna be okay, you think?
She will be okay up until the day she dies. She's got a great attitude about it right now.
Is that book, like, is that disease that guy in the book had, Tuesdays with Maury? Did you ever read that book, Tuesdays with Maury?
I think it is.
It's
It's either that or muscular dystrophy or Alzheimer's. Or not Alzheimer's, but...
It's a pretty bad disease, but they can have it for a long time. And
yeah, it's named after a baseball player. Lou Gehrig's disease.
Lou Gehrig, yeah.
One of those 3. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
But
Tuesdays with Maury, that was a good book.
I'll have to double check on that.
Tuesdays with Maury. Well, Bob, I'm going to get out of here, buddy. I've enjoyed it.
Hey,
Thanks for coming. I've really enjoyed it.